Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive philosophical mystery about the very nature of identity and existence. You know, we usually think of buildings, especially huge stone structures, as permanent, unmoving facts of life. But what happens if you take a structure, completely replace its physical components piece by piece over decades, swap out the people running it, and entirely upgrade its tech? Is it still the same thing? Well, we're going to explore what's called the LUX Lights Continuity Theory to figure out exactly how identity can survive absolute, total physical replacement.
So, think about this. What makes a lighthouse remain the same lighthouse if its tower, its massive glass lens, its human keepers, and its entire technological foundation are completely replaced? It's basically a modern maritime version of the classic ship of Theseus paradox. To answer this, we're going to look at some wild, verified historical evidence from the French coast. We'll see exactly how the idea, or the identity of a thing, easily outlives its expendable concrete and stone avatars.
Okay, let's jump right into our first section, 3 beacons of change, looking at Cordouan, Coubre, and Arman.
Take our first site, the Phare de Cordouan, which is often called the king of lighthouses. Now, this structure has been constantly hacked apart and modified. Back in 1790, an engineer named Joseph Toulaire literally amputated its top to raise the tower by 30 meters. Then, in 1823, it housed the world's very first groundbreaking Fresnel lens. But get this, even that was ripped out and replaced after just 31 years when better tech came along. Its power source evolved from burning wood all the way to modern LEDs. Yet despite all this crazy physical turnover, its navigational function totally survived. Its monolithic identity endured, even achieving UNESCO World Heritage status in 2021. The physical mechanics were temporary, right? But the cultural memory was permanent.
Now, if Cordouan is all about continuous modification, our next lighthouse, La Coubre, is about supreme spatial instability. Since 1830, the Maritime Administration has built, abandoned, and watched the destruction of 5 distinct towers here because of brutal coastal erosion. We're talking a wooden pyramid, a masonry turret, a timber scaffold, and a stone tower that literally collapsed right into the sea in 1907, all completely destroyed. And yet, what survived? The distinct 2-flash signal and the mandate to warn ships about the estuary. The identity of Phare de la Coubre just seamlessly jumped from one doomed tower to the next one built further inland. It's fascinating.
Then there's our third case study, Arman, which brutally illustrates the cost of this orientation. Built on a barely submerged rock off the coast of Brittany, its keepers actually called it the Hell of Hells. To comply with modern environmental laws, its internal organs were completely gutted. A massive toxic 1897 mercury bath was ripped out in 2019 and swapped for ball bearings. Even the human keepers were permanently evacuated by helicopter in 1990. The interior mechanics are incredibly fluid, but what survived the overhaul? The exact 3-flash signal rhythm and its immovable presence marking a deadly reef hazard.
All right, moving from the history to the theory in Section 2, the formulas of continuity, synthesizing the evidence. So, from all this wild historical evidence, we derive the 3 foundational formulas of the LUX Lights Continuity Theory. Number 1, purpose survives carriers. Basically, the mission outlives the building itself. Number 2, identity is not preserved by assets. A historic glass lens or an old stone wall doesn't hold the actual soul of the signal. And number 3, the grand synthesis here, identity is preserved by the continuity of purpose across changing assets. The physical components, they're merely temporary vessels holding a permanent institutional mandate. Which brings us to Section 3, the refined identity life cycle, breaking down the 6 stages of survival. So if identity really isn't tied to physical parts, how does it actually evolve? Well, here are the 6 exact stages. Step 1, it is born from need. Think of deadly reefs demanding a warning. Step 2, it operates through purpose, which is the active mission to guide. Step 3, it's recognized through signal, like that specific rhythmic flash that gives it a recognizable name. Step 4, it is carried by assets, which are those consumable temporary towers and lenses we talked about. Step 5, it is preserved by stewardship. This is the humans and the institutions totally determined to keep it alive. And finally, Step 6, it survives as memory and narrative. This is where the physical beacon transforms into an immortal cultural memory.
Now, let's zoom out in Section 4, Beyond the Lighthouse, looking at the metaphorical scale.
Because this deep conceptual framework applies literally everywhere. Think about organizations for a second. A corporation can change its entire staff, its headquarters, and its products, yet remain the exact same legal entity, just like La Coubre replacing its towers. Or think about artificial intelligence systems. An AI model can have its underlying code and server hardware completely rewritten but still retain its specific user-facing identity. It applies to museums and archives, and honestly, it profoundly applies to human identity. I mean, at a cellular level, your physical body completely replaces its own assets repeatedly throughout your life, yet your narrative, your specific signal, remains continuous. I want to leave you with this incredible final manifesto line from the research. The light is not the lighthouse. It is what survives the lighthouse. Next time you look at a historic institution or rapidly evolving technology, or, even yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, what is just the temporary structure and what is the true signal that's going to survive? Thanks so much for exploring this theory with us today. Take this framework, apply it to the structures in your own life, and keep learning.